In question 17, we're given the following diagram, which we're told shows an apparatus which demonstrates some of the events in human ventilation. So essentially this diagram represents the lungs. We have balloons which represent the lungs, and we have this glass container which represents the whole thoracic cavity, and it's squared off by this diaphragm at the bottom, which based on this arrow is being pulled downwards. We then have 6 potential events, and we're asked which of these events during ventilation will be recreated when pulling the rubber diaphragm downwards. So let's take a look at our 6 options. We have options relating to the diaphragm relaxing and contracting, the volume of the thorax increasing and decreasing, and the pressure of the thorax increasing and decreasing. Let's start with the first 2, which relate to the diaphragm, whether it relaxes or contracts when the diaphragm is pulled downwards. Well, when the diaphragm is at rest, it forms this curved shape you can see here, and that's when the diaphragm's relaxed, so therefore pulling it down will recreate contraction. So we have that the diaphragm is contracting, and now let's think about why the diaphragm would be contracting. Well, the goal of inspiration when taking a breath is to get movement of air from a region of high pressure to a region of low pressure within the thoracic cavity. And a key way to do that is to have the diaphragm contract, because that creates a larger area within the thorax, a larger volume, and therefore the pressure within the thorax decreases, allowing passive airflow from the outside in. So that's the reason the diaphragm contracts, and therefore we can see, following on from the diaphragm contracting, what the secondary effects would be. So the volume of the thorax, as I mentioned, would increase, and the pressure of the thorax would decrease. So it's by knowing the resting shape of the diaphragm and the fact that pulling it downwards recreates contraction that we can identify whether we have inspiration going on here or expiration, because expiration would require movement from a region of high pressure within the thoracic cavity to a lower pressure outside, and that would be associated with a decrease in volume and pressure. So we have our answer, which is that 2, 3 and 6 are correct, and therefore our answer is going to be option F.